I am delighted to welcome my panel for my next session, which is called Remember Growth. These industry experts tell you how to kickstart your sales and marketing efforts. So I've got Celia Lopez, I've got David Steele, I've got Eric Charles Russell, and I've got Sam Holden. So you can see Celia and David, and fingers crossed. Hey Celia. Hey David. Hey Sam, and hey Eric. So really looking forward to this. I spoke to David and Eric myself. So hi guys, welcome to the panel, and maybe let's start by everyone saying hello. So and tell us a little bit about yourself. So we'll start with Celia. I think you're on mute.
That's kind of important. So, hey everyone, my name is Celia Lopez and I'm the founder of Placemade. Placemade is Canada's first health and fitness inspired co-working space. We're located in Toronto, Canada. And yeah, I'm super excited to be here.
Nice to meet you, Celia.
Nice to meet you.
So David, do you want to say hello?
Sure. My name is David Steele. I'm Chief Viral Officer of Sneeze.It. Probably not the best title I have during COVID-19. We are an agency that markets specifically for the fitness industry. We do about 20% of the fitness industry in the US, plus a lot of different clubs throughout the world, with 2 offices here, one in the US and one in the Middle East. And happy to be here.
Nice to meet you again.
Again.
Hi, Sam.
Yeah. Oh. Hiya, my name's Sam. I'm the owner of My Body Rocks, which is a Surrey-based pole and aerial studio, so a little bit different. So yeah, just sort of excited to be here.
Cool. Looking forward to talking to you about this stuff. And hello, Eric. Good to see you again.
Hey, good to see you too. I'm the guy with 3 first names and 1 book. So I've been in membership sales for almost 30 years. Started when I was a youngster. And it's been a focus of mine ever since. I've nerded out, obsessed over it, and thought about it way too much. But that's my specialty is the sales process regarding membership sales.
Excellent. And we're going to give away a copy of your book for a good question, The Art of Selling Memberships. And I think you've also given us 4 coaching sessions with your sales team. So that's 5 prizes we have to give out for some good questions. So I encourage everyone to keep the questions coming in. Those coaching sessions especially are going to be really well worth it. So I'm conscious really what we have here today is a mix of coaches and industry experts, and also people running their own businesses. It'll be great to get both sides of that, but maybe I'll start with you, David. You are the expert in all things marketing for gyms. So just tell me a little bit around, how marketing for gyms has changed since COVID-19.
So first off, when a gym is about to open, because that's like the biggest turning point in the US, it's kind of a rolling situation where some are opening and some are closing. You really want to get started about a week to 2 weeks before the club actually opens. The first messaging is cleanliness and safety, which is ultra important to members coming in. And you're going to see a spike probably in the very beginning when you open your doors to new members coming into the club. We're seeing more so in the line of people that are buying month-to-month memberships instead of long-term, because we kind of categorize people into 3 different groups. The first is ready to go, which is 1/3 of the audience. They're ready to jump in the gym and start working out. There's that 1/3 that wants month-to-month, that is a wait-and-see approach. They want to kind of check it out, check out the club, and we find that free passes are just not safe in this environment. So having people coming with an offer that's non-committed is working well. And we know 1/3 is never going to leave their house. So with that said is that right after you open, the message could start turning from ultra cleaning and safety along the lines of what to expect when coming into the club, and then ultimately pushing the value proposition to the club themselves.
Okay, that makes sense. And how have the different channels changed, and what at a very basic level should people be investing in? Is it digital marketing now, or is it more local marketing, or how are things changing now, or what you should be focused on?
So in the very beginning, digital is the quickest to turn on. And what you're going to find is if you're first to market in your area, the cost per customer acquisition is going to be lower than you've ever seen before. That's going to last about a week to 2 weeks until the market opens up, and then it kind of skyrockets. New players coming in, people are spending more money, and then it kind of dives down again as people are not having a return on their investment as significantly as they thought before. So we're kind of seeing like a roller coaster effect. We're finding direct mail is also starting to work as well. And that's more of a long-term play. So what you're doing is you're seeding kind of the digital side of it, and then maybe overlaying that with some type of direct mail offer as well. Lastly, retargeting is ultra important, and knowing where people come into your site and what they're doing. And we're seeing join onlines to be going up significantly. We have clubs that pre-COVID-19 were doing about 4 to 10% join onlines, jump up to about 40% join onlines. So don't think because your gym is closed, you can't sell memberships. There's a way to sell them, particularly when the gym is closed.
Particularly when the gym is closed. Okay. And while we're talking marketing, has the message changed? So has the message outside of it's safe to come in here, has the value proposition changed for people that are looking for a gym membership?
So a lot of gyms that feel that they're the only ones open in the marketplace are charging full rate. They're not discounting at all. Other big boxes who have to fill their club, right? There's at that low price point, they have to fill their clubs. They're discounting because they're at 25% capacity, and they want to make sure they maximize that 25% capacity. You just kind of have to find your way in that niche. I don't recommend discounting right away off the bat. People are willing to pay more. They don't want to step into the big boxes because it's scary. Those big spaces become very scary to people, especially since they've been enclosed in their house and doing Zoom in one room in their house. So they like a lot more close space, or feeling a lot more comfortable. And you want to kind of go to those different points that people are looking for. So talking about classes that exist, people want to be face to face. You want to talk about community. You want to talk about supporting local. You want to talk about getting out of the house and kind of enjoying the place that you go to. And you want to actually shoot videos and be very present with cleaning everywhere you are in the club as well. So when they do walk in, that it's everywhere. Signage is also really super important. Not to promote ourselves in any way, but if you go to our website, there's actually a free signage package for COVID. You can just download all different, whether it be screens or print material, and you can use that all for free for your club. So, and there's no registration or anything. So it's just a nice way to kind of see what other people are doing for signage, and it's just very helpful to people.
Okay, that's very useful. Okay, so Eric, we've had many conversation around sales and selling memberships, and I'm always inspired by the way you think about this stuff. So maybe tell me a little bit around, even since we spoke last 8 weeks ago, how businesses are doing and how they're approaching their sales right now.
Sure. So, I mean, in terms of how they're doing here in the U.S., it's a little crazy because there's certain states that are just completely closed, like the state where my gym's located, New York. We haven't been open for going on 5 months. North Carolina is the same, or Arizona is the same. They've opened and closed. California is open and closed. So there's, when I'm dealing with clients in those states, yeah, that's a little bit of a challenge because they're literally taking away that aspect of their business. And then there's some that are open to a certain capacity. There's all different levels going on. The thing is, though, no matter what level's going on in terms of memberships and in terms of what's going on in the marketplace, we know our prospects have certain things that are holding them back from moving forward. And this is what sales is about. It's about understanding what those things are and helping them get past them. So it doesn't change whether they're afraid of being a beginner or whether they're afraid of showing up and getting COVID. Those are fears that they have that we have to address. And the best way to do it is to do it before they bring it up. So if you're addressing the fact that they're a beginner before they bring it up, now you come across as like an expert and not someone who's being defensive about a program or about this COVID thing going on. You get ahead of it. And that's ultimately my sales process in a nutshell, is getting ahead of the obstacles and the apprehensions that our prospects have. And like I said earlier, I've been doing this for a long time, so I know our prospects, our fitness industry prospects, our membership prospects very, very well. I couldn't tell you about car sales prospects too much. I don't know much about them, but I do know our prospects. They're afraid of not fitting in. They're afraid of being a beginner. You know, David mentioned it. They're afraid of coming in this big, huge facility. They're out of place. They don't fit in. So you have to help them feel comfortable and allay those fears to move them forward. That hasn't changed. It'll never change. Fears might change a little bit. We've got a new one we're dealing with COVID. Yeah, that's changed. You've got to address it. Get ahead of it. Don't let them ask you about it, because then you're defensive. You appear to be defensive, which is never a good sign with a prospect.
Got it. So, and not to oversimplify it, but I think what you're saying is that when you're selling and this is a bit blunt, but maybe when you're selling a gym membership, there's always a list of reasons or excuses why somebody isn't going to buy it off you on the spot. COVID is just another one for the list, or a different way of articulating the same fears.
COVID isn't the reason why they won't buy. COVID is the reason why they won't try. If you got them there and you had a conversation, COVID's not the reason that they're not buying from you. There's something else. And typically it's either they don't believe they're going to get the result from your program, or they don't believe they're going to follow through with it. So it's either a reason on your side or a reason on their side, right? And they'll give you all kinds of blanket excuses. I got to check my schedule. You got to check your schedule in 2020, right? Like, first of all, if you're so busy that you got to check your schedule, it's probably in this thing called the iPhone, right? And if you're not busy and you don't need to check your schedule. It's the craziest objection and excuse we hear, but we hear it. And it's not the real reason why they're objecting. They don't want to really tell you they're afraid. Nobody's afraid of anything, right? They're all ready to rock. So they use it as a screen for the real objection. And if you're not handling that stuff ahead of time, it's going to be very difficult to get that. And you'll come across as a pushy salesperson, as opposed to somebody who's actually asking and caring about what their issues are.
Yeah. Okay. That's a really good insights. So we'll move on a little bit. We'll turn to you, Sam, because you're sitting in the other seat. You're doing the selling and you're in the gym. And I know you're in the UK, so you're fairly open. So maybe just tell us about what challenges you're facing in kickstarting your sales and marketing.
Okay, so we're actually just about to open this weekend. So we got given the go ahead like 5 days ago to be able to open. The biggest challenges is going to be the numbers, because obviously we have to drop to about 30% capacity. My situation is I'm a small boutique studio. We have aerial equipment, so we have to share. We usually have to share like 2 pieces of equipment, whereas for a class we will now have to do individuals on each piece of equipment, and the instructor then also takes their own piece of equipment as well. So you automatically, before you even get in the room, it's reduced by at least 30 to 40%. So that's going to be the biggest challenge, is how to resolve that. What we are trying to do is do the online as well as the classes, but we're also going to try and do online at the same time as in the studio. So you can take that class that's running in the studio at the same time as at home. So the instructor in the studio will be teaching on a piece of equipment where a camera would be pointing to, but we need to make sure that it's clear for not just the people in the room who are having a face-to-face class, but those online who are taking that class as well. So then you've got a mix of students to be able to increase the capacity of that class.
Yeah, so okay, so you've got so you're limited in size, but you have the chance to essentially run more people at the same time.
Yeah, that's what we're going to trying to do at the moment. So we're doing tests.
Yeah, it's definitely very it's all very new. And tell me, when you think about getting new customers and generating leads, what have you done, or what sort of steps have you taken to start that going again?
So we're looking at obviously the marketing for it, because now we're online, we're able to reach people over the world. I've got people that join me from Germany in my classes, and then I've got people who are on the other side of the country. So we're trying to now focus on who else we can market, not just locally, but globally as such. So, and in the process at the moment, we're working on our website to make it more suitable for online, because previously it's all just been classes in studio. Now we've got to adapt that to make sure that it reads very easily for those who are online and want to stay online. So currently what we've been doing is focusing on the Instagram. And I've been really focusing on making it a bit more personable, rather than just advert after advert after advert, because people don't really want to see swamps of adverts. They will just look at the profile, click past it, because Instagram's a place for inspiration. So that's what we've been doing. So we've been doing like 8 steps, where I choose a theme for the week. And in that theme, I might look at what classes I've got on. So if I've got stretch classes, I'll talk about flexibility, the instructors that are involved. If those instructors have a good online presence, I can repost what they're doing, or I can find some really top tips. And then it's the amount of posts that I'm doing to try and get more visibility. So, I mean, 2 to 3 a week is plenty, but the more you post, the more visible you are. So we're really trying to focus on, because I've already got that in-studio presence, because before lockdown, we were almost at full capacity, to the point where we were expanding. So it's now trying to bring back the students from before lockdown, which I don't think we'll personally struggle with, but then it's because we'll have to run more classes, and we'll have to work out this online situation, doing things at the same time. But going back to the Instagram, I'm really focusing on what we're posting. So if it's photos and videos, making sure that they're good quality where possible. Nothing in the background, just clean shots, ideally with just like one person, or some nice videos or professional pictures. For online, it's really good for them to see the instructors teaching from their homes as well, because then they get a sort of feel for it. Also, any of the videos that you do post, they need to be cut properly. So no going into the shots and setting up and doing things like that. You need to have it of the content, not the messy bits beforehand when you're setting up. And then it's the content creation that we're looking at. Is I think I touched on base earlier, where I said make the most of your instructors who have this good online presence. Try and use their engagement as well. It's really good to try and get this whole community aspect, that is not just the studio. You've got a whole team that are behind you and supporting you. If you're going to do adverts, do it sparingly. So a maximum, if you're really focused on the adverts and you have something that you really want to tell people you've got. But I would generally save that for either the stories or your website. So you want to have an engagement Instagram to then be able to get them to click on your links to go onto your websites. but maximum for every one, you want like one post for every 3, which is an advertisement, or as long as you're engaging with them, they're going to be interested, so they'll want to click on the website.
And tell me this, have you had many sales conversations yet now of, say, trying to sell somebody I don't know what your model is like, but let's call it an annual membership, and how are they going?
So we're doing it by sort of monthly memberships, a mix of monthly memberships and also credit bases, because previously, before lockdown, we were, for us, we were about £150 a month for unlimited classes, where they can do anything in the morning and daytime, everything, or they can do pay-as-you-go credits. With this, we are looking at more of the premium price as well as the old price. So we'll have 2 different price structures. I say this because as someone said earlier, that you want to make sure that people feel safe coming into the studios. In one room, I'm going to have this like buddy system, so that everyone attending that class it'll be the same people in the room at the same time. So they can go back to the original system, the credit system. In the other room where there's less space, we'll do it as a premium. So they won't have this buddy system, but they will have less people in the room, like 5 people in the room, if I'm honest, which is tiny. So their price would be higher. So we're looking at different prices depending on what we can do in that room, but also not undervaluing the extra that they're going to get because of the restrictions.
Got it. So you're continually testing new things to adapt to the new things.
Yeah, we're running something different at the moment. So throughout August, we're going to just be doing 1 to a piece of equipment, really cutting it down, and then for September we'll introduce this buddy system. So I'll let people know how it goes.
Okay, so Celia, I think you got us there. Okay, so maybe tell us a little bit for your business, where things are at and how sales and marketing has been so far.
Yeah, so for us, we're a little bit of a different model because we don't cater to necessarily customers. Like our customers are independent personal trainers and practitioners. So before COVID happened, we were actually getting ready to launch. So we're really ramping up our kind of like pre-sale offers and getting people to come and sign up through that as we prepare for opening. But as a result of COVID, we obviously had to push back. And our sales and marketing has changed a little bit, obviously, because we're actually a little bit in a better position because there are a lot of, I feel like personal trainers who now really want to start their own businesses. So they're really looking for a space to call home. And so they're really coming to us and telling us what they need and what they want. So we've had to kind of change our sales and marketing and even our membership options to cater to them in terms of what makes sense right now. Obviously, because they're customers, some of them might have lost clients, some of them might have, so we've had to adjust our pricing. So like David said, our big sales and marketing push right now is making sure that we're saying that we're like a private studio space, it's a clean space in order for you to come in. It's by appointment only. And how you access the space is through, a trainer. And we have like pods that we've set up in the studio to make sure that there's, that 2-meter distance to make sure everybody's kind of safe and healthy or, keeping their distance.
Got it. And has there been ways that I suppose COVID has benefited you to a certain degree, that there's certain new offerings you can come up with to deal with the challenges that people have?
Oh yeah, for sure. So a big thing that we didn't think about was actually transitioning the studio and offering it as a film and production studio. So anybody that wants to do virtual one-on-one, they can come in here and use the space to conduct their training sessions, but to also use their space for, creating their digital media, their content that they post on social media. And so COVID didn't really teach us that. Like if it wasn't for COVID, I would have not known to offer that. That's something that we were getting requests from. And so now, as a result of that, our studio is now also offering that as an option.
Got it. And I suppose some people can get away authentically with, okay, produced content, but there must be a lot of people screaming for like decent content.
Oh yeah. A lot of our trainers, they want to provide like a professional look. So they don't want to do it from their living rooms or their kitchens. They actually want to conduct it from a professional space where it's like good lighting and, actual equipment that they can show, and clean video, right? So that's one big piece of feedback that we've been getting, and it's really worked in our favor.
Cool. And what's your sense for, given what you do, what's your sense for the number of new fitness businesses being launched, during this period?
Oh my gosh, tons. I think a lot of the trainers who were working at previous studios are, because they lost their income, they tried to do their own thing either online, on their own, or they've transitioned into like outdoor training. So for us here in Toronto, we are allowed to train outside. So I think because they've been picking up that momentum by themselves on their own, they're starting to feel confident in the fact that maybe this is something that I can potentially do on my own long term, right? And so we're getting a lot of trainers who are just making that transition, and are actually looking for space for them to, conduct their business and call home.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, so one topic I think is very interesting from a sales and marketing perspective is pricing. And I might turn to you, David, around what you're seeing changing in the different, like at a highest level, do people have more money now because they're going less places and spending less? Or do they have less money because their incomes are down? And, how do you adjust your pricing models? People are asking about pricing all day. So how do you adjust your pricing models for them?
That's a phenomenal question. And I'm going to answer it this way is you really need a pricing ladder. So it's an older concept that's been used for quite a bit, which is you have an entry point that can get you in the door, and then you can build from that entry point. I think what happens a lot of time is, and I saw some questions that were coming about, which is how do you discount without devaluing your brand and all these other things. And that's very common we hear is like, I'm a better gym than the big box, and I don't want to devalue my brand. But meanwhile, people are joining that other gym for that lower price. So in the U.S., we're seeing that there is, unemployment. People are nervous, especially now. They're debating whether the benefits are going to come up and stuff like that. So you want to target your marketing to be in line with what's happening politically at the very same time. So once the stimulus package is passed, you dump a lot of money in. As it gets towards the end, you start slowing down, because that's the first thing. So a low price entry point is important, but you don't want to devalue the brand by giving everything at that low price, so very minimal. The second thing is that, right now a lot of video content is all free. Nobody's charging for the video content. I think once that changes, the market's going to change significantly. And so you really want to have an arsenal of content ready to go for that, and maybe include that in part of your offering as a virtual gym offering. And I guess lastly is one of the things that we talk about all the time is, for years is clubs were always talking about getting outside their four walls. And I think they're starting to, they have no choice now, obviously, but they're starting to think that way. But I think there is also limiting factors. They're not really, the clubs that are leveraging their brand are doing a really good job. And the ones that are just kind of just throwing content out there just to keep their members happy until they get to reopen, I think they're going to end up being big losers in the long run.
So yeah, so like there's obviously some pitfalls there. So, let's dig a bit deeper. What should you be doing and what shouldn't you be doing? And even at a very basic level, should you have the odd free class on Instagram? Should you not? Like what do you think is the playbook?
So I do think you need those free classes, but you need to keep them sparingly. It's not all free. It's just maybe a free class or a donation class a lot of people are doing at certain times in the day, right? And that's it's 1 a.m. maybe, and 1 p.m, and then if you have classes throughout the day, you might charge for some of those classes. So a hybrid model is definitely needed. And I think that people are willing to pay for good content, and they're willing to support local businesses. So all the studios are on this call that are locally owned franchises should really promote the fact that they are local and they're part of the community, because that's a big selling point. People want to support local these days. I think that that's an advantage they have over some other brands. As far as, what you should go, to market with. You wanted them to discover pricing. So you want them to, you don't want to come out and say, this is the price. You want to have value first, have them come to your website, and then utilize a name capture or retargeting of some sort to bring them back over and over again until they join. I don't know if Eric remembers this verbiage that used to be used in the industry. We've used it for a long time, either buy or die, right? Either come back and you buy now, or die and come back another time and buy then, right? And so you really want to promote that idea that people need to, you have the ability to bring them back over and over and over again until they buy. And that's what you really want to do.
Got it. And okay. Now maybe move on to Eric. Move back to Eric then. And I'm sure, Eric, there's a lot of people on the call here who are starting to get their sales going, but a little intimidated because they see that customers have doubts and worries. And we've been through it at a high level, but maybe talk to me about, the kind of, in a bit more detail, the mindset people should be in as they're starting to try and get past a few class passes here and there and starting to build like high value memberships.
First thing is, people are buying. Don't let the fact that there's a population of people who aren't buying hold you back from understanding that people are buying. And you know who's buying? The ones who are raising their hands and saying, I want to be a member. I'm interested in your offer. They're buying, they're ready to buy, or they're not raising their hands. They're not calling you to have a conversation with an old friend. You're not like going selling Louis Vuitton on sale or something. Like they're for membership, man. So understand that they're ready to buy. Don't let this idea that, well, people are losing jobs, or this is going on, or the economy's doing this, hold you back from staying focused on what you offer and what you can do for that prospect, because that prospect wants a solution, and when you provide it, they will pay you for it. Period. My first gym I opened in 2005 in the US, if you know anything about that. Now I've been in the business longer, but my own personal gym that I opened, 2005, okay? The start of a recession. The economy started taking a hit. We saw a little pickup, then 2008 came, boom, bang, and I opened 2 more in that time. I don't focus on the people who can't buy. You shouldn't either. You should understand that the ones who are raising their hand, the ones who are saying, hey, I'm interested, whatever it might be, your free session, your free week, your whatever offer it is, they know it's not free forever. They know at some point they're going to have to buy, and they're still raising their hand saying that I want to do that. So you just got to continue to move them forward. So it's mindset and understanding that. Mindset is sales too. I mean, it's everything, like how you look at it. Are you pushy or are you helpful? If you're helpful in our business, you're going to win more sales.
Got it. And I suppose what would you sort of advice would you give to somebody who hasn't done this enough, or hasn't maybe read the book, or hasn't done the training? Where do they start in terms of being able to have a sales conversation?
That's easy. Read the book and do it more. End advice, right? But seriously, one thing is understanding the perspective that I come from. I don't come from any other background except membership sales. So it's very, very specific. I'm a niche in a niche. Like I took all of my sales training and I applied it to selling memberships. And I realized certain things work and certain things don't. And I got rid of the ones that don't. And I added stuff that was uniquely my own. High pressure sales. I'll tell you, high pressure sales, you'll get sales doing that. You'll get sales by being hardball, but you'll also get cancellations. Most of us have that 3-day thing in the areas where we sell memberships, where they can literally just cancel in 3 days. They say, oh, I'll buy just to get out the door, and then boom, they're canceling. That's a high pressure scenario, right? So you want to focus your sales training and industry specific training, like what I provide. and I know David was like, not to plug and was trying to be courteous. I'm going to plug, okay? Get the book. It's going to help you immensely. It's $20, okay? And then the other side of it is experience. Without experience, you just have to get more reps in, just like anything else. You have to take some lumps, and you can read the book, you can memorize it. I have students that say, hey, you say this on page 200, and I'm like, oh, I did? Oh, I don't remember what's on that page. But they know it, but I guarantee you if they want to go head to head with me in sales, I'm going to beat them. I got the experience on them. You got to have that to go with the knowledge. Without the experience and without getting in there and having a prospect say, I need to think about it, and you dealing with that effectively in a way that seems helpful and not pushy, you'll never get great. You'll never be good at it. So you've got to have that experience. You got to take those lumps, and you got to analyze and go through it. And
yeah,
I mean, I used to record everything, phone, video, everything. I do it to this day. I pull recordings from my clients, and we broadcast them and go over them.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Like, I think like having a methodology and training is, even for people maybe on the line here who haven't figured it out yet, like there's not that much more to it other than practice. Yeah,
and look, here's the other thing. When it's all said and done, you don't need anyone. I know that sounds kind of weird coming from somebody who makes his living training people, but you don't. I didn't. The question is, how much time and money are you willing to spend to learn it? Because that's where the real difference is. We're not stupid. We'll figure things out. You know, it took me 20-something years to figure it out, but hey, I got there. If there was a membership sales trainer when I started, man, I would have been all over it. You know, I'll pay the money to shorten the time frame. You know, and so that's the thing to realize. Like, you can do it on your own. Don't be discouraged because you're struggling a little bit. That's part of the game. It's like getting bigger muscles. You know, you're not going to get bigger muscles without some pain, without some struggle. It's the same thing with what you're doing in your business. You're going to struggle a little bit. It's okay to do that. Just keep going. Just keep learning, keep analyzing, keep improving every little aspect of it. Or hire me. I'll help out too. Okay? Another plug. Sorry.
This is it's really good. I'm getting lots of great comments about this mindset of that you need to be in. So like that's really helpful, Eric. Just wanted to put it back to you, Sam. You've got a successful business there. Obviously we've got hard times now, but where did you learn how to market and sell, and how was it having those first sales conversations for you when you started getting going?
Well, I actually did my degree in graphic design, and then actually, so my degree was completely not what I'm doing now. So yeah, I did my degree in graphic design, and I actually worked in quite a lot of marketing places before doing pole full time. So I actually had a lot of people not to help me, but to inspire me. As long as I found the design looked good, I had this natural sort of idea of where I wanted to go with my brand. And I think that's really important, is having that brand image so it can be recognized. Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. That's a really good tip. We're almost out of time here, but I'm seeing some questions coming in, so I want to address them as well. And one is for David. There's been a couple of questions about it, and it's also been in the back of my mind. As people are starting to build more online content now, they can maybe be tempted to go further out of their local area and build more of an online brand. And I suppose, David, I'd like to know, is that possible for a bricks and mortar business, or is that a distraction?
It's absolutely possible, but extremely difficult. We get what we call a halo effect. We think we get very successful in one market, and that, you know, we get a couple people here and there coming from other areas. And we figure like, oh, everybody wants my content. But truth be told is, unless you're truly unique or you have a great process, which I'm sure a lot of people do, is you open up the market and you start competing with everybody. So the first place to start, I think, and we see this a lot with our customers, is start putting translation on your websites. Like, do it in multiple languages first, and see what you attract in those markets locally with those other languages, and then start building out into those countries that speak those languages, right? So if you do Spanish, obviously there's Mexico. If you're in Canada, it'd be French and English, and maybe you go over to France, and so you start there first. But definitely concentric circles. Don't say to yourself, I'm going to build this, I'm going to send it everywhere. It's just too costly. And there's not enough, how do I say, it's traction for you just to plop into a market, just like you wouldn't just put a brick and mortar someplace and say, hey, I'm here, ready to go. It takes a lot more than just that.
Got it. And I'll keep the questions going here because we've got a lot of them. I'm just going to fire one at you, Eric. It's a long one. So it says, for Eric, I understand that people come to a class or a trial because they're interested. But how do you deal with a person who, say, a free week, enjoys the classes and wants to keep coming, but they don't purchase anything after, or they seem to buy when it's, I think they're saying, a lower price package? How can you make them see the value?
First of all, if they're coming in for a free trial, that is the point of value. Like, that's what your job is to do, is to demonstrate that. Your training should obviously be high value, but your sales process should also add to that value. So when you're looking at the sales process that I teach, it's about understanding the prospect so that you can make the best recommendation for them. I don't make recommendations, and I don't teach people to make on price. Typically, I deal with a higher end client in terms of pricing. I don't have any $10 a month people. No offense to $10 a month people. That's just, they don't have sales teams that typically, so I'm typically dealing on the higher end. And what we want to do is we want the prospect to make a decision based on program, because program is what gets results, not price. Although they kind of go hand in hand. You pay a little more, you get more services, you get more things, more benefits. You typically have a better program type of thing, but there's reasons for it. So net, they're not this lower tier that this person's talking about. If that's the one they should be on, that's the one I'm going to sell them. But if they should be on a higher tier, then I'm going to sell them that one. And I'm not going to go, hey, here's 3 options for you to pick. Because they're going to go, I need to think about it. And now look where you're at. Right? So you've got to understand them, and you've got to make the best program recommendation. The other thing is, when they come in for the free, you've got to ask permission to sell. Ask permission to do it. If they come in on day one and you say, okay, I'm going to show you this, I'm going to show you that. Now you're like this crazy car sales weirdo that they don't want to deal with, right? You ask them. You got schedule squared away. You got all the things. I'm not going to go through the whole sales process, but you go through the sales process. They tried the program out. Did you love it? Yes, I did love it. Well, great. Now you got a free week coming. But let me ask you something. If I can show you an option that's affordable, that fits your budget, and what I'll do is I'll take that free week and I'll apply it to that membership. Okay, so you'll still get the free week. But if I can show you an option that's affordable, would you want to take advantage of it right now? I'm asking permission. I'm not just dumping a package on them or anything like that. And I'm doing that on day one, because you're going to get a lot of yeses. Day one's the time they're the most excited. You have a couple that, okay, a couple days later, they're still excited. But on day one, you have everybody. Day 2, you have less. Day 3, you have less. Day 4, you have less. You don't start with 10 on day 1 and end up with 15 on day 5. You start with 10 on day 1 and end up with 6, 7 on day 5. It goes down. So ask everybody on day 1 if you can show them an option. It's that simple. If they say yes, guess what? They're ready to buy. Don't mess it up. It's that simple. Okay?
Okay, that's very good. Now I'm way over time, so I just want to finish with Celia and just maybe you know, obviously getting your business off the ground. How are you finding it marketing and selling to actual fitness professionals?
It's not too bad right now. It's like I've mentioned before, we'd had to change our membership options to make it fit to what they can afford, like how they can come and train right now. So ideally we had monthly membership packages for these trainers to come and access the space. But, you know, given the times right now, we've had to adjust it a little bit in terms of selling credits. And that seems to be a better fit for now. And I like that we have the ability to kind of, you know, transition with the market and just be able to see what works. And so far it's been so good.
What are you seeing about, like, you're seeing lots of new businesses? What are you seeing about ones that are, you know, more exciting and more successful than others? What is it about them that you're seeing?
Oh, they're just more like super excited about transitioning into starting their own business, right? And and taking this opportunity to move away from whatever they were doing before and build the company or brand that they want to do right now, in terms of and train the way that makes sense for them and their customer.
Yeah, and I know probably most people on the line here are probably trying to hold on to their trainers and their staff. But for somebody who's thinking about starting their own business and getting into all the stuff we've learned about today, what advice would you have for them?
Oh my gosh, just take the leap. I mean, I was once there. My background is as a personal trainer, which is how I came up with the concept of PlaceMade. You know, I've been through a lot of struggles and in terms of understanding how to create a successful business model. But, you know, ask questions, you know, talk to people like Eric and David and, you know, take their courses, you know, just keep learning and just keep trying. And if it's something that you're truly passionate about, you know, things will work out the way that they will work out in your favor.
Got it. Okay, well, I think we'll finish there because I think those are inspirational words for us to take a break on. So I want to say a massive thank you to Sam, to Celia, to Eric, and to David. Could sit here all day talking, but we'll let you guys go for now.